What are some common facts that people believe to be true even if the existing evidence states the contrary? Cutting your facial hair makes it grow in thicker. I had a full-on argument with an individual who firmly believed that genetics played no possible role in hair growth whatsoever. I have never been more perplexed or angry in my entire life. Sincerely, bald at 25. I'm a master esthetician and I've studied hair growth, and I can confirm, shaving, waxing, plucking does not make more hair grow thicker nor longer. The reason for this misconception is when you shave, it makes the tip of the hair blunt, so when that protrudes from the follicle, it appears to be thicker. The only change in hair texture, thickness, length, etc., occurs in the papillae, hair root, which is completely determined by hormones. That Einstein was a bad student and was bad at math, it's just not true. He got average high marks and was really just disdainful of the structure of school, and he was good at math. Physics is like 90% math. I get why people share it. It's to make struggling students feel better about themselves. But can't we tell them about something else, instead of lying? Just show them the salary of a plumber or welder compared to their teacher's salary. That ought to cheer them up. Einstein's grades in school were very good, except 4 languages. That doesn't even mean much, as his English was perfectly sufficient to live and teach in America later in his life. The confusion comes from the fact that Einstein was German, but went to a Swiss school. In Germany 1 is the best grade and 6 is the worst. In Switzerland it's the other way around. As Einstein was graded 6 in maths, that surprised many people expecting to look at a German report card. The most violent arguments I've had have been convincing patients with a viral cold that they don't need antibiotics. I remember a documentary a few years back about a GP's practice here in the UK, basically filming patients, with their permission, to show a day-to-day. They literally had people come in and answer, "What's the matter today?" with "I need some antibiotics." They didn't even elaborate on why, just "I need some antibiotics." You see, my roommate Dave always plays loud music at night when I'm trying to sleep. No one likes it, so I need some antibiotics, preferably strong ones. My mom, she gets super depressed sometimes. I need antibiotics to cope with it. The mother of one of my friends fed long expired, like, decade-old antibiotics to their new puppy after the vet said it probably picked up a parasite. Poor dog suffered 4 weeks with this treatment until she decided to take it in to get the parasite removed. She also forced my friend to fake his symptoms of something else so the doctors would give him antibiotics, instead of something to treat what they thought was a viral infection. A few people still believe that opening windows before a tornado to even the pressure will save their house from damage. Some also still believe trailer parks attract tornadoes and that random sacred landmarks can protect cities from tornadoes. The first part of that does have some merit though. Opening up all your windows will effectively reduce the total force being exerted on the walls from the outside wind, since some of that airflow is allowed to pass through the wall instead of acting upon it. However, considering how strong the winds are in a tornado and how small most windows are, the effect may as well be irrelevant. Opening your windows to reduce the damage from the winds of a tornado is probably about as effective as planting shrubbery to reduce the damage from an oncoming avalanche. LOL. Yeah, the standard answer is don't worry, the tornado will open them for you when the debris starts hitting the house. The dramatic pressure drop in the core of tornado would potentially cause issues in a house with no way to vent said pressure difference. But by the time it drops that low, usually the roof has been blown off or windows broken by debris long before. And main danger in opening windows is if it delays the person opening them getting to shelter, they'll probably break anyway. But near a window is not a great place to be with a tornado bearing down. It is rarely necessary to wait 24 hours before filing a missing person report. Yep, our police has this listed on their Facebook page as a common myth. Someone really needs to let Hollywood know. Oh, there are so many things that someone needs to let Hollywood know. For some reason in the movie Road Trip, the characters quote the weight of a mid-90s Ford Taurus wagon as 2,400 pounds, when in reality it's more like 3,500 and easily verifiable. I don't know why, but this has always bugged the crap out of me. That 30 used to be considered ancient back when the average lifespan was 25 or whatever. The average is offset by a huge number of child deaths. 30 was never ancient. Even hunter-gatherer societies had people routinely living into their 60s. Piggybacking off this, that girls were married off in their early teens in the medieval period. This is based off the nobility and royalty, who did marry off their young daughters as a political tool to secure alliances. However, even when the young royals were only 12 or 13 when wed, They were often married by proxy and married in name only. The married couple were often kept separate until either the girl came of age, also known as got her first period to produce children, or were just deemed old enough to start living together in the same castle, which wasn't until around 17-20 years old. The vast majority, like the peasantry, weren't married until their early 20s. Women in the peasantry often did have a choice on who they got to marry, unlike their noble components who were used as bargaining chips. Somewhat related to this is that children, particularly girls, are entering puberty earlier than they used to. Nobody is really sure why this is, but it is worth noting that came of age, or when a girl gets her first period, would have been a few years older than it is today. Vikings never actually drank from skulls of enemies. This was based on a mistranslation of Old Norse poetry in which they referred to drinking from horns. They never had horns on their helmets either. Even as a kid, I thought that would be wildly inconvenient. The enemy could knock the helmet off of you super easily. I always figured it'd get caught on things. Doors, sails, people's heads when you turn around too fast. Death Star blast doors. Lightning never strikes twice in the same place. In fact, it does, and frequently. You don't want to be there when it happens. If it didn't, lightning rods would be useless. You don't replace your lightning rod after each strike? Nah, just engineered so they move a fraction of an inch after each strike. The electricity provided by the lightning is way more than enough to power the motor that moves them. A person drowning is not likely to be flailing wildly and yelling like in the movies. Drowning can often happen with mostly silence, especially with kids. Read up on the signs. It might save a life. I was drowning and lost consciousness when I was 5. I was told I barely made a sound. I went under, sucked in lungs full of water when I tried to cry out in surprise, and blacked out. If it wasn't for my dad's instincts and quick action, I'd be dead. A lot of people think they can burn belly fat by doing crunches or slim their arms down by doing push-ups, but targeted fat loss isn't possible, and there's no evidence to suggest it is. True. One analogy for this I heard involves a pool of water and a bucket. If you take water out of the pool with a bucket, burning calories to burn fat. Even if you scoop in one place, it will remove water evenly across the pool. Some people's genetics store fat more in certain parts of the body, and you can't spot reduce body fat. Yet, ab workouts just build up your core muscle and burn calories. The kitchen is where you lose the belly fat. Whoever is losing it, I'm finding it. Noted. Do abs in the kitchen. Your heart stops when you sneeze. I mean, have you seen my dad sneeze? No wonder the heart needs a break. Dad sneezes are a different game. Dads. I love sneezing. The sensation of it is just freaking amazing, and I get excited whenever I feel like I'm about to sneeze. That nose wiggle building up to the final nose explosion is just so freaking freeing. It's like I'm taking off a pair of tight jeans after a long day. Freaking facially orgasmic. I wish I could sneeze more. Sneezing is supposedly similar to an orgasm, but only 1/7/1/10th powerful. You can tap a block to see if it is loose in Jenga, which is stated quite explicitly in the rules, and frick you everyone who said I couldn't. It's not out until it's free of the system or it falls. I remember you can even try to put it back before it's out to try a different one. Maybe that's house rules, though. Cracking your knuckles too often will give you arthritis. Nope. No conclusive study has ever backed this up. It just releases the gas from the synovial fluid in your joints, which is neither good nor bad. Oh, that's good to know. As a kid, I just accepted my fate, because I like the crack sound. The knuckles go pop pop. Magnitude? That shampoo has to make bubbles to be effective. Bubbles are artificially added just to let you know that you are doing a good job at cleaning your hair. And, because you wouldn't buy a shampoo that doesn't foam now, would you? Also, it doesn't have to taste that bad. Not that I tried. Flavors and vomitives are added to prevent accidental poisoning. Same with toothpaste. It foams in order to give you that clean feeling. Pro tip: brush your teeth dry and feel your teeth with your tongue until they feel very smooth, and then brush with toothpaste. This ensures you get all the bacteria off and then go in with the fluoride. Sensitivity: freshness toothpaste. Source: was a dental assistant for years. That if you touch a baby animal, like a bird or rabbit, its mother will neglect it and it will die. That is a myth. It was just a way for parents to get their kids to leave baby animals alone. Yet, a few weeks ago, a baby bird fell out of its nest in our backyard. It survived, and my dad was going to put it out of its misery until I told him that this myth wasn't true. We put it in a cardboard box on the table closest to its tree with some food and water and just left it alone. Its parents found it the next day and were bringing it food. and within a couple of days, it was gone. Since it's that time of year, if people do find baby birds with feathers on the ground, the best thing to do is leave them where they are, or move them to a safer location nearby if animals or kids are a concern. The chicks are fledging and just learning to fly. The parents will still feed them and look out for them, and no further input is required on our behalf. People often confuse an independent media for an unbiased one. The most people only use 10% of their brain's capacity thing. Utterly ridiculous. The brain is a giant, metabolically expensive, staggeringly complex structure. Why on earth would our bodies grow something like that and then not use it? You're almost certainly right, but it just makes me think of my friend that bought a 2,500 pounds MacBook and only uses it for Word and web browsing. Don't worry, that just means that it's tiny. Nah, size has little to do with intellect. Mostly means their brain is smooth as a grape. It's the main plot point in the movie Lucy with Scarlett Johansson. Watching Morgan Freeman using this as a scientific explanation for her superpowers was cringe-inducing. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please smash the like button and leave a comment which story you liked the most. Subscribe and hit the bell notification for updates on our latest videos. And don't forget to check the links in the description box for more awesome content.